All right, let's do this. We got the true murderer in the corner. Let's press on and take her down. The court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Today will be the final day of this trial. I hope both the prosecution and the defense will be able to present decisive evidence. I can totally do that. Your opening statement. In yesterday's session, the defense presented us with a new theory for this case. He claims that the scene of the crime was, in fact, Studio 2. Today, I will call the people and present the Studio 2 trailer that day. From their testimonies, the truth will become clear. Very well. Edward seems a bit on edge today. Well, that's why it's called Edgeworth. He goes to the edge to prove his worth. The prosecution calls Miss D. Vasquez and wow, getting straight to it. Miss D. Vasquez is a producer who was present in the Studio 2 trailer that day. Smoke that, whatever it is. Will the witness state her name and occupation? D. Vasquez. I am the producer for Global Studios. On the day of the murder, you were in trailer in Studio 2. As everyone here knows, yes. I just like needless banter. You must pontificate. Do it when I'm not here. What is pontificate? Go quickly. Very well, Miss Vasquez. Please give your court your testimony concerning the day of the murder. Vic, I know she did it. Make her pay. Right. If she's guilty, I'll catch her with her pants down. I don't know if she's even wearing pants because of that dress. Let's do this. I entered the trailer, a little before noon. The meeting began at 12 sharp and ended at 4. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. At 2:30, we took a 15-minute break in the meeting. So Sal and I ate a T-bone steak at the table in front of the trailer. We found Hammer's body later when we all went to Studio 1. That's all. I have a question about the one part of your testimony. You were fatigued, so you had Sal take you? The van. There's a van at Studio 2. I didn't take me in that. So I thought it might be risky to walk with all the monkey's head toppling over. Alright. I see. Very well, Mr. Wright, you cross-examination. Let's do it. I'm with you, Maya. I entered the trailer a little before noon. Alright. By yourself? Yes. You didn't stop in the employee area? No. Are you always this terse? Yes. Oh dear, this is gonna be long. 12 sharp and 4. Rehearsal and exactly that. I've forgotten. Maybe you could try remembering? No. Me and the 4, the rehearsal was scheduled for 5. I think it was between those times. You would think? Come on, all you did was state the obvious, Edgeworth. Fatigue from what? Hold on. You had Sal take you? What does that mean? It means what I just said. I had Sal take me in the Studio 2 van. Oh, alright. Today we took a 15-minute break. Alright, look at pick apart. What were you doing during that time? Don't hit your desk. It irritates me. Yeah, Mr. Wright. Whoops! Mr. Edward did the same mistake. It was a 15-minute break. T-bone steak in front of the trailer. Alright. Guess someone can verify this? Sal. No, I mean someone else. One person is enough. If she committed a murder during a break, she wouldn't have had time to eat T-bone steak. Oh, wait, yeah! Wait a moment. Yeah! Ha! As I thought. You claimed to eat a T-bone steak, but I say you did not. What's this now, Mr. Wright? Look at this. It's a plate. This plate was on the table in the employee area. As you can see, a large bone has been left behind. Mr. Wright, need I remind you, it was a T-bone steak. Exactly my point. Remember, if you will, Mr. Squeeze and Miss Miller ate at a table outside the trailer. Yet there was no bones left on the plates. The plates were bare. Aha! Mr. Squeeze? Tell me, how can a person eat a T-bone steak and not leave the bone? I think I know how. You didn't eat the steak! You took your steak and threw it somewhere, like that incinerator. Aha! I see. Then what was Mr. Squeeze doing her break? Is it obvious, Your Honor? Meeting the Steel Samurai. She was meeting the Steel Samurai. This is where it turns. Are you saying? Yes, Your Honor. As Mr. Squeeze left the chair to eat her steak, she ran into the Steel Samurai. And then you did it. You killed him with your own hands. Mr. Wright, and isn't that a little presumptuous? What kind of stunt are you trying to pull, Wright? Let him claim what he wants. You say I did it. Yes. Fascinating. And here I was worrying that today would be as boring as all the rest. Very well. Let's have a battle of wits, you and I. Oh, you are so gonna lose. Let's see. What was the murder weapon again? Oh yes, the samurai spear. Yes. I am, as you can see, a woman of petite stature. How can I possibly use her spear as a weapon? Yeah, I'm starting to put the pieces together. You couldn't, could you? I think you would have a great deal of difficulty using that as a weapon. Pretty much anyone would. Yeah, that's pretty much the case. Hi, you see. Yes, however, that has no bearing on this case. Meaning, the samurai spear was not the murder weapon. Ah, you flinched! I got something. What is the meaning of this? The spear was found lying next to the victim's body. I have proof, Your Honor. I can prove that the samurai spear was not the... Is it this? That's the only thing I can think of. Okay. I present my proof, the so-called murder weapon. But that is the murder weapon. Not so fast. Remember that the spear broke during the morning action scene run-through? But someone fixed the spear. It was a security lady. She fixed it with duct tape. Now tell me, how is it possible for someone to stab a man who is wearing a thick costume with this through the chest? Order, order! Mr. Wright, what are you driving at? Think about what your... Silence! I'm the one testifying here, and I will be heard. Yeesh. Sorry, Edgeworth, you're gonna be in the back burner. Are you quite sane? Are you even aware of what you're saying? If the samurai spear was not the murder weapon, then pray tell what it was. How was Hammer killed? I can! Alright. It was... Now it is! Look at this photo. What's this? Why, that's Jack Hammer sitting at the top of the stairs. Order, order! If I cannot have an order with this child with Mr. Wright, what is this all about? This photograph is from 5 years ago. There was an unfortunate accident at Global Studios. This is a photo of that very accident. I'm aware this was leaked to the outside. It was a close-kept secret at the studios. It had to do with the current case. Mr. Edgeworth, you still can't see it? See the fallen man in his photo? See how had the fence post pierce him through the chest? What are you saying? Yes. What happened 5 years ago? Happened now! Has happened again. And she reacted, so that means it's true! Mr. Wright, continue. It's 2:30 p.m. on the day of the murder. The Steve X squeeze meets Jack's hammer outside the Studio 2 chair. Then she did it. She pushed Mr. Hammer out the stairs onto the fence post. Just like Mr. Hammer had himself done 5 years ago. Though whether she did it on purpose or by accident, I cannot say. Something tells me it was on purpose. In other words, the victim, Mr. Hammer, he died the same way that he caused another man to die. Very ironic if you think about it. 5 years ago! Precisely. Ironic, isn't it? Oh, very creative, Mr. Wright. I could use a man like you on my scriptwriting staff. You deny what I say is true? Mr. Wright, let's say for the sake of argument that Hammer died at the trailer as you say. Yet the body was found at Studio 1, was it not? And the evil magistrate custom the list. Are you claiming that I carried the body to Studio 1 and returned to the trailer all in the space of a 15-minute break? How could I dispose of the body? The break in the meeting at the trailer lasted 15 minutes from 2:30 to 2:45. Could Jack have been pushed off the stairs to his death and carried to Studio 1 and placed inside his costume? There wasn't enough time. Indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, how could she have dealt with the body? She had another way. She had another way to carry the body, other than with her own hands. For instance, actually, for that matter, there was no need for her to do the in 15 minutes. And there was a way for her to carry the body. Interesting. Let's hear it then, Mr. Wright. Please show us how she carried the body. She said it herself! The van! You carried the body to Studio 1, and you used the studio van to do it! That's the easiest way! That's the easiest way for someone to move a body! There was about to be a rehearsal over, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. There was a van right there, right? I had Sal drive me. Exactly! You used the van to carry the body to Studio 1. Then before everyone else got there, you put the body into the magistrate costume. Hold on, Wright. Don't forget it was Sal Manella that drove the van. Are you suggesting that Mr. Manella was a conspirator? Of course he was. The body had to be placed in the van and put into the costume. There's no way Mr. Squeeze could have done that alone. Also, don't forget that they had to dispose of the Steel Samurai costume. They had to because it was covered in Mr. Hammer's blood. They probably burned it in the small incinerator. Well, Miss Squeeze, shall I continue? No need. You're smarter than you look, Mr. Wright. Hmm. I lose. You win. It was fun. I win? Yay! Case closed! End of chapter. Something tells me this is not over. So, what happens next? Don't question mark me! Wow, I didn't even know she questioned. How did you even know? Don't you have anything to say? What would you like me to say? Huh? I lost? Something like that? I just said that. Wait, so you mean... DSQ, so it was you! You killed Jack Hammer? Man, the awkward silence. Who could say? Huh? Are you sure I did, Mr. Wright? You just gained a battle of wits. And the result of that battle, you proved the possibility that I murdered the hammer. Right? But that is only a possibility. Proof is another thing altogether. You lack decisive proof, Mr. Wright. What? What? Are you kidding me? Order? Mr. Edwards, your thoughts? Man, even Mr. Edwards is at lost words. Of course, it says as... It's as a witness says. Certainly, it does seem very likely she did it, but, there's no proof. Edward isn't sure. He's on our side, I guess. Well, I came here as a witness today. If you no more questions, I'll be leaving. Or, what do I do now? Testify again! I'd like you to testify again. Testify again? Know when to give up, Mr. Wright. Think about it. Even if I were to testify again, what's the point? I can only say what I said before the truth, Mr. Wright. I've already said all there is to say. What would happen if I said it again? You ask the same questions, can't get the same answers. A waste of my time. Damn! To come so far, only to fail. As it seems there are no further questions, I would like to end the cross-examination of the witnesses. Edgeworth! Yes! This is Edgeworth. I was hoping to come up with a question while I was objecting, Your Honor. I didn't. That's the most anime-related thing in this freaking game. I see. Very well. There we go! Your Honor, I request that the witness testify again. You are the prosecutor, are you not? Why are you badgering me? I'm your witness. I just want to hear your testimony again. Does this make any sense to you, Your Honor? I don't see what we have anything to gain by repeating the last several minutes. Is there truth? I too see the point make repeating yourself. What exactly do you want her to testify about? Well, yes, indeed, barely. I say, ergo. I want to hear about what happened after they found the body. After they found the body? Very well. The witness will testify to the court concerning this matter. Nick, why did Edward? Who knows, but he's on our side, so let's not question it. This is our chance. You probably, she did too, but, wasn't he the one that said he always gets a guilty verdict? After all that, Edgeworth. Okay. I was with Sal and Oldback, the security lady, when we found the body. The assistant was there too. Only Powers was absent. I immediately called the police, then Powers showed up. The security lady Oldback was kinda agitated, pointed at Powers saying he did it. I asked to be let out of the proceedings. I went back to the trailer to get my script and the direction notes. Then I went home. I see there's no issues read by this, my cross-examination. Yeah, there's definitely holes in this. Yeah, let's get that truth out of her. Alright. Let's all back and together. Let's find a body. What time was that? We were to meet at 5 for the rehearsal, so I'd say it was then. And actually, you meet Mr. Wright at the studio about 10 minutes before. I wasn't stuffing any bags in the costume volume. Back off for now. Better leave this one be. I'm sure she's... Leave that one be for now. I'll come back to that. You just first take a nap, correct? So he says. Did no one go to call him? Remember what? They were dead lying at first. Did you expect me to be calm? You certainly seem calm enough when I accuse you of murder. Yeah. Wait a second, wouldn't it be the other way around? The other way around? Yeah. You discovered a murdered body and one person was missing, right? Wouldn't you normally go looking for the missing person? I have to agree with the defense on this one. Well, Miss Vasquez? Logically speaking, perhaps, but no one was ever thinking logically, I assure you. Also, without his steel samurai costume, Powers doesn't really stand out. We often left him on the bus to shoot location. No one knows he was missing. Poor Powers. I suppose that explains that. But Vasquez, you may continue. Okay. Why? Yes, it seems that everyone else is questioned. And I'm really not fond of that sort of thing. It's still everyone's there a suspect. But you can't just decide who the police will or won't question. Thankfully, the studio thinks otherwise. They were nice enough to understand that since we were in a meeting. There's no way we could have been involved. Thus, they covered for us. Covered for you, or covered it up for you. There must have been a lot of writing on it, with all those big ones out of me. I'm sure professionals help convince everyone they didn't require questioning. Why? Yes, they're quite valuable. It wouldn't do to them stolen. No, I guess not, but wait a moment. Wait a second. Thought you came to sue him for a rehearsal. Why didn't you bring your script and notes? Well, I was under the impression we wouldn't be able to rehearse anything. Why? There was a murder after all. Who could think of rehearsing after that? Yeah, I guess. Wait a moment. Wait a moment. Your Honor! I haven't objected to that witness's last statement. Wait, Edwards has an objection? Wow. Think. Mrs. Squeeze said she didn't bring the script because there wouldn't be a rehearsal. Don't you see what that means? She would have had to know about the murder before going to Studio One. True! Why, if she said that, why did she say that? If you knew there was a murder, then why didn't you call the police beforehand? What have you just said? It's a reasonable observation. However, I find it hard to understand why the prosecution would make such a move. Are you thinking of career changing to defense? I appreciate the concern, Your Honor. I will stand by my statement, however, regardless of the court sees my role here. Now, Miss Vasquez, do you have an explanation? I can't believe Edward is helping me. For the prosecution in cahoots with the defense? What kind of court is this? No matter, I think you misunderstood me. I had a perfectly good reason to believe there will be no rehearsal. Very well, the witness will change her testimony to reflect his reason. I knew that Hammer was injured. Wait, Hammer. Hammer wasn't injured. We've been hearing time and time again that Will was injured. I want to hear this. How did you know about the injury? How did I know? Sal, he told me. Sal, the director. Yeah. How do you know it was... It could have been... Yeah. It was Will that was injured. Don't you think that's a little funny? I mean, it was a Steel Samurai who was injured. It was Will Powers. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Yes, Mr. Hammer is shaking his leg in this photo. And that's because he was pretending to be Mr. Powers. But pretending? One person was injured in the run-through that morning. That person was Mr. Powers, not Hammer. Now, why did you think it was Mr. Hammer who was injured? I already said, it was Sal who told me. That's right, he must have gotten it wrong. Why would he get it wrong on his own creation? Mr. Manila was at the run-through that morning. He would have known it was Mr. Powers when he saw it happen. Why would he tell you the wrong person? That's a squeeze. You saw Hammer limping. Actually, you didn't hear anything from Mr. Manila. You saw Hammer limping with your own eyes. Yes, but wasn't it Mr. Powers who was injured? Yes, but remember, his hammer was banging his leg too. He was pretending to be Mr. Powers. Ah! When was he doing this? Well, it would have to be a bit after he put on the Steel Samurai costume and went to Studio 2 where he was murdered. Exactly. Mr. Squeeze, you've met him, didn't you? You saw the Steel Samurai limping. Mr. Hammer was in the Steel Samurai suit. That's why you were confused. That's why you thought it was Hammer that had been injured that morning. Boom. Checkmate. You're done. Order, order. I will have order. Witness? Can you refute this claim? Yeah, let's see you think out this one, Vasquez. Very well. I have a question for you. Oh, great. What question is it this time? Why in the world would I want Mr. Hammer dead? Yes, he had fallen hard times, but he was a star. I had nothing to gain from his death. Nothing. Yes, you would need a motive. Why would she have killed the victim? She really didn't have a motive. Yeah, I have proven I'll show it to you. Oh, wait! This is my proof. Oh, yeah! Yeah, okay, understandable. This photo reveals the motive in this murder. I'm right, aren't I, Mrs. Squeeze? 5 years ago, Mr. Hammer was at the height of his fame. With the U.S. Squeeze's help, a terrible accident was swept under the carpet. Ladies and gentlemen, the case is currently up for trial. It began on that day 5 years ago. Ironically enough, the accident precipitated Mr. Hammer's fall. His fall from stardom. His skill weighed him down, no doubt. However, if you, Diesel Squeeze, used Mr. Hammer, you made him work for you for petty change. Bring us up to the present day, Mr. Hammer's last role as the evil magistrate. Yes, undoubtedly, it was the constant source of shame for the X-Star. One moment, Mr. Wright. We are talking about motives here. Yeah, you only talk about Mr. Hammer. It almost seems as if it was Mr. Hammer who had killed the Vasquez, not the other way around. What motive would Mr. Vasquez has? She doesn't. It was self-defense. I would have had no reason to kill Hammer. He was a good source of income for me. I never get rid of useful men. It's a policy of mine. Also, you're a gold digger, basically. That's good to know. Mr. Wright, please explain Miss Vasquez's motive for murder. She had no motive. She had no motive, Your Honor. What's this? What's that now? It was Mr. Hammer who was out for blood. All Miss Vasquez did was push him out the stairs in self-defense. What's that now? It's simple. Mr. Hammer was intending to kill Miss Vasquez. What? What? Exactly. Your Honor. Jackhammer drugged Mr. Powers with sleeping pills. Jackhammer snuck into the dressing room, stole the Steel Samurai costume. Jackhammer wore the costume to fool the security lady into thinking he was Powers. Then Jackhammer made his way to the trailer. And for what purpose, you ask? To kill the Vasquez who had so cruelly taken advantage of him all those years. I think that's true. So, you did do it, didn't you? Yes. I am guilty. It was me. Someone call an ambulance. There's blood everywhere. We're too late. Ah, Miss Vasquez. What happened here? Manuel fell from the trailer stairs. Manuel! Miss Vasquez, please try to remain calm. No, how could this? It was an accident. Mr. Hammer was doing an action scene and... No, Manuel! Oh. No! Oh. Congratulations, Mr. Wright. I lose again. We did it! Mr. Edward, where's the Vasquez? In the waiting lobby, Your Honor. As calm and collected as ever. I see. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? It appears you have brought yet another miracle. I thank you, Your Honor. I think not, Your Honor. Will Powers is innocent. That he should be found is only natural, not a miracle. Yes, you're right. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, not guilty! Ah, there's a big lug. That's all. The court's adjourned. And there we go. Confetti's clean up. Ah, we did it. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. I'm just glad you're okay. Yes, but it's sad. I know now that Miss Hammer stole my costume. It's bad enough that he wanted to kill Miss Vasquez, but I think he tried to frame me for the murder. It makes me sad. Tell me why, Mr. Wright. Huh? Tell me, why did Mr. Hammer want to blame me? Because you were famous. Because you were the Steel Samurai. Because I was the Steel Samurai. Well, I guess there's due to acting in the kid show as a villain to boot. The kids love the Steel Samurai. And so, we hated you. I think I understand. You could have just told me. I would have changed places with him any time. You have a big heart. You're the big guy with a big heart. honestly makes me sad. Your mind might be elsewhere, but your heart's in the right place. Thank you. I just got all over. So am I. So am I. Congratulations, WP! Oh! Thanks to you, I'll be able to don the Steel Samurai outfit once more. I can't wait to get back into that sweaty costume, man. One bad thing about that. Is something wrong? No, of course not. Nick Edgeworth! Oh no, it's Edgeworth. He looks angry. Say something, right? I'm not good at small talk. Huh? What? That was too bad, Edgeworth. You don't waste any time gloating, do you? No, I really want to thank you. Best reason I got in the way if you hadn't stepped in. Pleased to meet you. I'm Powers. Edgeworth. I'm a big fan of your work, Mr. Powers. Liar! You lie! You lie as easy as you breathe! Right? I must say, I hadn't expected to meet you again after all these years. Meet again? However, in retrospect, it would have been better if we had not met. Thanks to you, I am saddled with unnecessary feelings. Unnecessary feelings? Yes, unease and uncertainty. And those kinds of necessary... They only serve to get in my way. You, listen to me, Phoenix Wright. Don't ever show your face in front of me again. Knowing this game, we're going to meet like... two more times. That's why I came here to tell you. Mr. Wright? Was that guy your friend? What? Friends? As if they're rivals. Rivals! Right, Nick? For now we are, I guess. Ah! Why do I get the feeling I'm missing something? Come on, Nick, tell me! What's the deal with between you and Edgeworth? A story as old as time, Maya. Quite stirred by revealing the accident from 5 years ago. It was the talk of the town. Thankfully, Global Studios rethought its programming change and making kids shows again. The Pink Princess! Nick, this is it. The new show starts today. You're going to watch it with me, right? I'll admit, I was kind of surprised. I didn't think they actually was go through with it. You have to buy train cards too, okay? We had to trade with Cody and that assistant. Fine, I'll do it. Isn't it great that WP gets to play the lead again? I wonder if they'll show his real face this time. I don't know. I think don't think the world is ready for the real world powers. Yeah. Yeah. A happy ending for all. Turnabout Samurai. Next time on Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, we're gonna start the new chapter, episode 4. Turnabout Goodbyes. See you all next time.